All right, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Chev. I'm here with another tips video. This one was not planned. It was sort of something I saw in the comments section that like lit a little light bulb in my brain. This is a how to get better at pitch recognition in MLB the Show 21 or just MLB the Show in general. Super good idea. A question I get a lot of the times. How do I know what pitch is coming? How do I react to sinkers like that? How do I react to cutters like that? How do I overall just get on top of what pitch is being thrown and my thought process and my reactions and my physical methods in terms of tracking pitches, all that stuff? I'll talk about it right now. First and foremost, what I'm doing, I'm in custom practice. These aren't my boosted sliders. I use my boosted sliders before I go into legend ranked to get me on time. These are just regular offline legend sliders. Rosters though, I'll put the roster name to search in the vault in the description. It's in quotations. This is the quote. Jado Wavy, Jaydowavy. Shout out to you, Jado. He's a top player. He did the rosters for you so you can use DD players in custom practice offline to use your team. Now, let's start it right up. I'm using Mike Trout versus Oral Hershiser. Now, what am I looking for here? What is my weakness with Trout? Righty here on legend. What's going to kill me? Off rip, sinker up and in. Okay. Also, next after that, cutter down and away, cutter up and away. Those are the pitches to watch out for against a guy like Oral Hershiser. Now, keep my PCI loose, cheat up and in, and that was a cutter. So I sort of, swung right through. That didn't move at all. I thought it was going to be a four seam. You're looking for the bounce of the sinker out of his hand. That was a curveball. Really early. Wow. That was a curveball, so I was a little bit early. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cheat my PCI up and in to catch the sinker, which breaks quickly. You want to see a bounce out of his hand. It went down. Do you see that little bounce? It came out of his hand, going low, and went like a little bit up first. You want to look for that rise out of his hand first. That's when you know it's a sinker. It's the only pitch he has that will do that. That was a changeup, which I sat back pretty nicely on. You're not gonna get beat with that changeup. If you're sitting sinker, looking for the bounce, at this point, it's about reacting to off speed, and that includes the cutter. Gotta move your PC around, keep flexible. I start up and in with Trout, track the cutter, drag along with it. I know it's tough to recognize the cutter. You're gonna see almost like a drag across with his arm. You're gonna see a drag motion. That's when you're gonna know it's gonna be a cutter. At that point, you're already geared for a sinker. You should be good with speed in terms of you should be on time, maybe a little bit early, which isn't that bad. Drag along to get that cutter. But like I said, when it comes righty here in this particular pitcher, look for the bounce from Oral on the sinker. I got it, and I hit it pretty well for that. That was an absolute dot, and I still hit that pretty well. You want to see this up and away bounce. That's what you're looking for. One of these motions. It's most important. Now, that's basically covering Oral Hershiser, which is a tough matchup right now, righty with Trout. We'll switch it up a little bit and go a little different. We're going to go Mike Hampton versus David Ortiz. Now, this is a little bit different because it's the same idea. Sinker cutter guy. Not as hard throwing as Oral. Kind of throws a little soft, but it's lefty. Same thing. Cheat up and in with the PCI. Wait for the bounce. That was a changeup. Holy hell. I'm trying to really sell out on it. This is really slow. You got to cheat. I missed that entirely. I'm really honestly staring at the pitch, trying to see if I can see that bounce myself, and I am seeing it. You guys can see it. It bounces up towards you for a second. You want to see that slight bounce up towards you, and you'll know a sinker's coming. When you see that, at that point, it's about how well you could track the ball with your PCI, how good your reaction time is. That can help you from that point on. If you need PCI help, check out that PCI tips video, which will be linked below. Timing-wise, I can't really help you. That's all your reaction time. Cheat up and in. That was a four-seam fastball. I was ready for it, and that's the best part. If you cheat sinker, you look for that bounce. You're not gonna get beat by a four seam because you have no movement left to do with your PCI. It's gonna go straight into it. Same idea. Move it around, keep yourself loose. Wait for the bounce. Got the bounce. He goes really slow for a sinker, but you saw it. You saw that little bounce fade off. Now I'm not saying you're gonna hit it every time, but you're not gonna get fooled. For the bounce. Didn't see it there. We can even go specific. I know this doesn't help if I know it's coming per se, but we'll operate sinker cutter here just to be a little bit general instead of just only sinkers. In this particular moment where I'm sitting on those two pitches, look for the sinker up and in. Normally I would hit that pretty well. Obviously I didn't there in that situation, but I'm near it. I recognize the pitch. I know it's coming. You guys can see the bounce up. That's what you're looking for here. That's the basics. That is the basics with that particular scenario. Now, what would be a different situation that'd be a little more tough? We'll try Glavin. He has a sinker too. It's his primary. It goes a little bit harder. He's tougher because his bounces but moves quick. Okay. Now I'm using a guy with 73 contacts, so it's a little hard to line it up. I recognized that pitch early. I saw the bounce. I let it get inside on me. I didn't panic. Don't panic when you see a sinker, then you start flicking to the ball. Don't do that. Rather be late like this. I'd rather be late like this. Let it come to me first. You have three chances. You don't want to start flicking your PC out. That's when you know you're out of rhythm. That was the circle change that had the similar bounce up as the sinker. It was slower and it bounced up way higher. That is the key to facing Tom Glavin. His sinker and his circle change out of his hand could be in the same locations. They would generally aim him low in the zone. Now, you have to recognize a higher bounce up with the circle change out of his hand. That's when you're going to know it's that pitch. The sinker is going to it's going to come on his 3/4 arm angle. Right here, it's going to come a little bit up first. His changeup's going to be almost vertically straight out of his hand. It's going to come up like this when it's a sinker. You got to watch that vertical movement, that vertical lift. All over that. You gear for the sinker. You get anything else, it's minimum movement, and you'll cover yourself. Good sinker. Good sinker. That's the basics with that, lefty. You guys understand it. I don't got to keep going over and over and over again. I'll just give you my thought process. Maybe it'll click, maybe it won't, but hopefully it will. Let's go to, we'll go Trouty, and we'll hit against. This is going to be where it gets a little tough. Goose Gossage, he's got a sinker that sometimes looks like a changeup because of how slow it is in comparison to his fastball, which is 100 miles an hour. Same thing, cheat up and in. Drag with the fastball. Now, he won't throw it as much because it's not his main pitch. But we'll do... We'll take out the changeup here for a second. We're just going to work with straight sinkers here. Just to show you... We'll go everything in a second. I just want to show you what his sinker looks out of his hand. It's a little hard to recognize. Don't get fooled with that motion. It has that little slight bounce. You got to look for that bounce. That slight, ever so slight pop up out of his hand. You got to pick that up. Find the release points. A little bit over here. It's still hard to hit. It's 96. You get lulled to sleep with that bounce. You see it bouncing up. You're like, oh, I got time to react. And then it gets on your hands. His release point's about over here. Right on it. I know it's coming. Obviously, it's not the best example, but I'm here to show you guys what the pitch looks like out of his hand and where to look for it. A little bit missed it by a little bit, but point is, guys, I like to cheat righty up and in these days. Legend, it's never been harder to hit, man. Even in Hall of Fame and All-Star, man, everything is a little bit harder with pinpoint. Everything's so accurate. Pitching's better, which I like. But with that being the case, you have to cheat your weaknesses and almost anticipate a pitch at this point. I'm looking most of the time when a guy's got a sinker for that pitch up and in. Aim the sinker by his release point. Aim it by his release point, and then just act accordingly after that. That seems to be the key. Now we'll go everything he has in his arsenal. It's a little tougher. He's got a great pitch mix. Four-seam slurve, changeup, and a sinker. Same idea, though. Cheat up and in. That slurve comes in. You're cheating up and in to look for that bounce. You don't see that bounce. You see a hook like this from a slurve. You drag down. Changeup, you see a high bounce. You know to wait back on it. And because you're already cheating to the hardest part for you to catch up to, up and in, the fastball won't be as deadly. You might get some late side of goods if you're sitting on a sinker and you get a fastball, but it'll be better than nothing. Felt good on that. It was a little early, but it still felt good nonetheless. Same idea. Move around a little bit. Cheat up and in. That's the change. That's the change-up variant sinker that I was talking about. That one looked so much slower than the other ones we've seen. All over that, but it was an absolute dot. My personal recommendation to you guys is with how hard it is to hit this year and how good pinpoint pitching is, really emphasize taking pitches and at-bats, working at-bats, and waiting for your particular pitch. Even if you square up a first pitch dot, it's not always going to guarantee a hit. You can square up. It's a good pitch. It penalizes you. Find your pitch. Right now, I'm waiting. I'm waiting right now to see the bounce out of the hand. I want to get a sinker down and in, preferably. It's a slurve. It's a perfect pitch. All right, even better once this guy makes this play that he doesn't even need to make. All right, I'll give you an example here. We're going to aim a zone here. We're going to go sinker. Just up and in. Up and in. Just to prove my point here. Last point here. You guys will see it. Right into the zone. You see that quick little bounce. You know that you have to not wait on it per se. But once you see it starting to plummet from that peak. You see that peak break. And then the minute you start to see a slight drop down plummet, don't let it get deep on you. Swing early. It's going to brush up on you quick. Now, another popular request before I end this video. A tough one. David Ortiz versus Aroldis Chapman. All of his pitches. He's got a sinker and a splitter. And I'll tell you guys how I managed to hit this card. Not very well, but, you know, better than some. Dangerous things to think about with Chapman, of course. They just newly added outlier to his repertoire so he can hit 102 consistently. Where you want to get beat, where you don't want to get beat is up and in. You'll do nothing with those pitches. You'll feel like you're getting overwhelmed, overpowered, nothing you can do about it. Cheat, up and in, lefty, lefty. The rest of his pitches are all easy to recognize if you're sitting on a particular pitch from this guy and you have an approach to it. Here's my approach. Up and in, right? And then watch. Drag down. So what I'm saying here is if you start your PCI up and in, you're braced for not only the sinker, but the fastball. I preferably look for the sinker when I face Chapman. It's the hardest pitch to time up. If you're geared for a 97-mile-an-hour sinker with that bump in your mind, where you see that, pop up for a second, his fastball that's straight, you're not going to miss it. You're going to be geared for it. The splitter, you can flick down to it, whether it be down and in or down and away, if you could read it well. It has a fastball movement, but you got to see the spin on it. And the slider is going to go low and away all the time, lefty-lefty. You could just drag right down to it. You won't get beat with the velocity there. At that point, it's about your pitch recognition and your reaction time. But starting up and in here and looking for that hump from the sinker, that was a splitter. It has the same hump up in the air as the changeup does, but it's 90 miles an hour. It's essentially a changeup for this guy. It's 90, 91. You got to know that the splitter bobs up a little bit more than the sinker. The sinker hops up and fades off. Camera's just not focusing. Come on. Come on, bro. There we go. Look up and in. A little bit late on that one. I feel like my PCI got to it, though. Obviously, I'm allocating the game. These speeds are a little bit different. I'm just going to show you the last bit of this video. Will be showing you the sinker from Chapman, showing what I'm talking about, and how it looks lefty-lefty, and where you should prep. Look for the hop up out of the hand. That one is very subtle. That was a very subtle hop off his hand. It almost didn't even pop up. It's lower in the zone. Tough pitch to hit, man. It's a tough pitch to hit. I personally think him and Goose are the hardest to hit in the game at this moment. You gotta just try and manage and really just pick a pitch, and don't get frustrated if you get fooled like that. Don't get frustrated if you get fooled, guys. It's really important. It's tough to hit this year. You gotta roll with the punches. One more time. Show me something. Saw that one well. Didn't hack at it. We're gonna try and get a decent swing to end this video, so I don't waste any more of you guys' time. But I think this approach to recognizing pitches is very important. That was like a changeup. His sinker goes from 93 to 97. That was 93. That is very different than the 96 one we saw earlier. 94. So that's my point, guys. I think a big section of pitch recognition here, a big part you have to realize is that it's not even just about finding and recognizing pitches. It's covering your weaknesses pre-pitch and then working backwards from there in terms of recognizing out of their hands. First thing you should do, guys, is pre-prep yourself, cheat your PCI to where you're weak, and look for a pitch. At that point, stop thinking, just react. Where you want to do that thinking is you go to practice like I'm in right now, and then you practice trying to pick up that pitch. Maybe not even swing, just try and practice looking for the ball out of his hand. And that's it. That's what I got for you guys, man. If you have any other questions for videos, you let me know. I'll do my best to help you guys out. Hopefully this video helps you guys out too. Like it if it did. Comment down below. Tell me what you guys want to see. And sub to the channel. Don't forget to put that bell on, guys, so you don't miss when I post every day at noon Eastern. And like this one, sprinkled in there at 8 p.m. every now and then. But that's enough talking, guys. I hope you guys get better at the game. I'm trying my best to get better too. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching the video. I'm out.